guys, today it is time for my February wrap-up. Another month has passed by and I'm so excited to do this wrap-up today because I've read quite a lot and I've read quite some amazing books. This month I read 6 books, 1 novella, 1 play and also listened to 1 audiobook, so I think we should just get started and not waste any time. So the first book I finished this month was Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book in the Grisha trilogy. Just as the first book, I've kind of felt like this book was fine. I enjoyed the story most of the time. I still really enjoyed the world, but I still didn't really have any big connection with any of the characters. I did quite enjoy the new characters that we got. Oh my god, I'm getting really excited talking about this. I'm very happy to say that this book has introduced a character that has become one of my favorite characters. I don't know, you can probably guess if you kind of know me and you know things I like. So obviously I was very much in love with Nikolai. He's amazing. I love him quite a lot. Yeah, I really like the characters that were introduced in this one overall. Maybe it's not 3.5 stars, but like 3.75 stars. I couldn't give it 4 stars, but I did feel like I liked it a bit more than Shadow and Bone. Next, I finished the play that I read this month, and it is by an Italian writer called Carlo Goldoni. So on German, the play is called Die Verliebten. It is a comedic play about just basically a couple and all of their like ups and downs. It's constantly like being nice and being really friendly to each other and then hating each other and being super jealous of every other person there is. I read this play because I am doing a monologue out of it for my acting class and I really enjoyed the play. I thought it was super fun to read. I thought it was actually really hilarious. I found myself laughing out loud at like 2 or 3 times, which is really rare for me. I'm glad that, you know, I kind of had to pick it up because I really enjoyed it and I really hope I'm able to see it on stage someday. Next, I read Divine Destruction by Lester Sachs. This is the first book in a series about an angel and kind of a new like Jesus story in which there's like a messenger of God. And I was sent this book by the author in exchange for an honest review, which I have already posted and I'm going to link it in the description and on the card there, I think, whatever. So I'm not gonna talk much about it because I've already did a review. I did end up not enjoying the book that much. I just thought it was boring in parts, but it was also really out of my comfort zone and not something I read normally. I thought the overall concept was super fun and really interesting. I just couldn't really connect with the story. I ended up giving Divine Destruction 2 out of 5 stars and I do see myself maybe reading the second book when it comes out. Next, I've reread The Hunger Games by Susan Collins and this was my first ever reread of this book. This was for the book club that Maddie and B from Heart Full of Books and their friend Sarah have created, and they made kind of like a rereading book club which is called Stacks Full of Books. I'm going to leave the link to the Goodreads group down below. And this month they decided to reread The Hunger Games, and of course I could not participate because, as you know, I love the Hunger Games trilogy. So I reread The Hunger Games with them and it was such a fun experience, and as I said, it was my first time rereading the first book, so it was really cool to get back into it. I kind of forgot how amazing I find this first book. It was really a lot of fun. It made my month so much better to reread this with the girls and to kind of discuss things about it, and obviously I gave The Hunger Games 5 out of 5 stars again. After that, I finished Rune and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. This is the 3rd and final book in the Grisha trilogy. This one was really good. I found myself enjoying it so much. Yes, the ending was pretty convenient, but overall I just was really happy with this last book. I felt like overall the conclusion was so very beautiful. It was just really like the other books really built up to this point. And so when I finally got it, I was just so happy. I also finally started just feeling more things and I really started, you know, having like real reactions to things that happened in the book. Overall, I felt like there was so much more depth to all of the characters and I was able to understand them better and really sympathize with them, whatever they have done in the past. The only thing I still kind of think is slightly weird is the love triangle, because for me it is not a love triangle. I think it was quite obvious from the beginning that there's only one person that Alina could have ended up with. I don't really see where it comes from, quite honestly. I wouldn't have minded Alina ending up with either person because in the end I just felt like it was unnecessary anyway. I personally found myself shipping Alina Lena with Nikolai anyway. It was really funny to find myself just knowing, oh, there's this love triangle and I will probably really like the Darkling and I will root for the Darkling, and then not rooting for either of these characters in a love triangle, but just root for someone else. So yeah, it was really interesting experience for me, and might have made my way into my OTP list like a tiny bit. As I said, I really enjoyed this last book. I thought it was a great conclusion. I gave it 4 stars, and this is a definite reread candidate for me. I definitely want to reread the whole trilogy at some point to get more out of the world and to already like read it with the knowledge I have about the characters now. I think I'm gonna feel so many more things if I reread it now, because I just have a different feeling about the characters than I had for the first 2 books. Next, I reread Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins, the second book in the Hunger Games trilogy, and this was obviously for the book club as well. If you have been watching my videos for a while, you probably know that Catching Fire is not only my favorite book in this trilogy, but one of my all-time favorite books. Once again, so much fun to reread this with the book club, to discuss things, to be able to rage about Gale, to be able to kind of fall in love again with Peter and fall in love with Haymitch again. Haymitch is my baby. I love Haymitch so much. This time around, I might have gone a little crazy with the tagging. This is ridiculous. This is honestly ridiculous. And I totally would have loved to reread Mockingjay with them as well, but that kind of started on the 19th of February, I think. And at that point, I already was way too late for something I had planned to do at the end of this month before something else happened. Whatever, doesn't make any sense. I wanted to read A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab again. This is the first book in her Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, and the second book came out on the 23rd. And I just wanted to reread this book so bad before the second one came out. This was such an amazing experience for me. I read this last year when it came out, so it has been a year since I've read it. And you know I have horrible book amnesia, so I forgot so many things. I actually found myself reading points that I have totally forgotten or just wanted to forget. Like certain people's deaths and stuff were just things I have completely ignored in my head, and when they happened, I was so shocked again because I totally forgot. So it was such a nice experience because on the one hand, I really found myself finding out more and reading more details and just really being able to understand the world a lot better and to really just cherish the whole experience because I already knew so much. But on the other hand, I found myself totally re-experiencing the whole story and the characters. And I did end up finishing it in time. I pre-ordered the ebook edition of A Gathering of Shadows, so I knew that at midnight the book would be delivered to my Kindle, and so I was like half an hour away when it hit midnight, and I just rushed through the last few pages and then get to A Gathering of Shadows. Once again, I gave A Darker Shade of Magic a 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely found myself loving this even more than the first time. And then obviously after that I read A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab, and this book was so amazing. I actually wrote down in my notes that I had really crazy Harry Potter feels, and that is basically the only way I can describe it, I think, to kind of make you understand how I feel about this book. And I don't mean like they are similar in any way, or if you like Harry Potter you have to read this. It was just, for me, it was like coming home. It was like being reunited with friends. I just had like such an amazing and comfortable and cozy feeling while reading this. It was so great, and I am in such a horrible post-depression reading slump right now. Like every book that I want to pick up, I'm just thinking, you're not gonna be as good as this book. This is my favorite book of 2016 so far, and probably will be. I can't see anything like being better than A Gathering of Shadows. It was so amazing. I'm just so in love, and I'm in love with Alucard, and there were so many great scenes, and oh my god. Okay, let's move on. I obviously gave A Gathering of Shadows 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know if you expected anything else. So after that I thought, okay, I cannot go into a full-on reading slump right now. So I picked up Never Never Part 3 by Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher, which is a novella, and this is the third and final part in this kind of novella series that they have written together. I was so disappointed by this book. This was ridiculous, quite honestly, and it really upset me because overall I actually thought that the story of this was probably the one I liked most because it was really about the relationship of the two characters and there were so many great and cute moments, but the conclusion was so fucking disappointing. There basically was no conclusion. It was just a whole lot of build-up for nothing, and that really upset me. And then there was this fucking ridiculous epilogue. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars, and honestly, if the epilogue wasn't there, I probably would have given it 2.5 or maybe 3 stars because, as I said, I just really enjoyed the overall story and the things that the characters did together. But that epilogue, just fucking ridiculous. I don't know what else to say. This was absolutely ridiculous and it didn't make any fucking sense. So the month has been great and it didn't really bug me that I finished it off with this kind of disappointing book. Wow, this has been going on for way too long. I'm sorry if you're still here. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely let me know what you have read in February. Let's finally finish this video. Thank you so much for watching and I guess I'll see you soon. Bye!